Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today, let's take a look at the latest generation for the BMW 540i. This model is finished off in black sapphire metallic. They have a starting MSRP just over $67,000. We have a pretty nice spec for this 5 Series sedan, and we will start off with what this is powered by. Underneath the hood, you're going to find the 3-liter twin power turbo inline 6 paired to the 8-speed automatic. This pumps out 375 horsepower, 398 pound-feet of torque. It is all-wheel drive. It'll do 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds with a top speed of 155 miles an hour. Now, as we move on to the exterior styling, you'll notice this model has a lot of brushed aluminum accents. It's on the kidney grille, where it's also on the trim accents too. And if you look closely, the sensor for distance pacing is nicely integrated right in the middle. There's also cutouts too to provide cooling when needed. There's all of the parking sensors, and then a dark housing for the LEDs up front. There's a cutout too on both edges of the bumper and the lower section there. And then some really nice lines that come down the hood and meet the top of that grille very nicely. Now, this has a cool two-tone design for these wheels along with the silver brake calipers. And then there is plastic for the lower side skirt with this stamped trim accent that runs along it. Now, there's a two-tone design for these mirrors. They're power folding. They have the camera and the turn signal. Really nice brushed accent for the window trim, which also has a 5 stamped in the back. And then there's a sunroof too. Now, this also gets that flush design for the door handles. And then coming to the back, LEDs for the lighting, backup camera, all the parking sensors, and some more brushed accents just to tie it in nicely. Now, you can use the button on the key fob or the control up underneath to gain access to the cargo space, where you have a good bit of space for this 5 Series. There's no storage under the floor. You have storage bins on both sides, and then you can also fold down the back seats. So you have a practical sedan where you can fit in a good bit of items. And then you can just close that trunk or lock the vehicle too. Now, if you do lock it, there's no proximity door handle in the back. So just grab on the fronts and you can unlock the rears. Now, this model has the red leather interior. You get a two-tone design on the door panel with this brushed accent for your release, Harman Kardon for the audio, and then storage in that lower section. And then you get more of the red for these seats, which is a really nice accent. Now, at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. You have an area where you can attach and charge tablets, vents in the middle, auxiliaries, and storage down below. And then you also have the armrest where you have cup holders too. And then I have a few inches of headroom at 5'10", so for a sedan, you have plenty of practicality for adults in the back. Now, up front, you get this lighting strip right here where you have your memory seating adjustments, lock and unlock within that panel itself, which is pretty neat. There's also the release handle, window, and side mirror adjustments, and then the trunk release. And a really nice design for these front seats too. So let's start this up. Where the 5 Series has a unique shape to the steering wheel. It almost has a rounded off flat top, but it has a flat bottom design to it. There's paddle shifters on both sides, cruise control settings on the left, and then on the right, there's volume. You have a shortcut to your music, Bluetooth and voice commands, and then you also have a lot of content that you can go through within the gauge cluster here. So you can scroll through all of this, just depending on the information that you would like to see. And you can also change the layout too. So depending on how you want to view this information, you can go through a few different settings, and then you also have the head-up display where you can further go through some more settings there too. Now, you have a control for your vent, and then headlight adjustments and your fan speed are within that ambient lighting strip. And then with the infotainment system, the lower section is fixed, so you can always get to all of this information. You can also go through it using the shortcuts down below. So this has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and several icons to get into depending on what you need to see. Now, the home screen has a split view, so you can go through this information. And then you have your fan speed, all of your climates there, nav and music, and then heated seats, heated steering wheel, and temperature adjustments. There's more ambient lighting with some air vent adjustments. You get wireless charging with storage, auxiliaries, and cup holders, and then the rest of those shortcuts, of course, so you can easily go through all of this information. You have volume and tuning, and then if you go under My Modes, not only can you get through some of the normal driving modes, but you can also get into some funky ones like Expressive. So it's going to change the graphics. It's also going to have the sunshade opened, as you can currently see, but if you get into some other modes, it will adjust those as needed along with your throttle response depending on the mode. Now you also have a shortcut to get into your driver assistance along with your drivetrain and chassis, and a shortcut to pull up the camera system. So we have the 360 view, so you can get through all of these angles, even including the backup assistance, so you can use that as needed. Now to put this into reverse, simply just push that forwards, pull it back for drive, pull it back again for sport mode so you can use the paddles, and then the e-brake is going to be park. Now there's auto hold, you have a split opening for the armrest, and then a locking glove box down below, and then more ambient lighting on that passenger side. There's also garage door buttons, dome lights, and controls for both the sunshade and sunroof. And then here's a look at visibility, where it's pretty easy to see over both shoulders. You have a lot of glass for this 5 Series. And so we're still in sport mode, here we go. Like I mentioned, you can't even feel those shifts. They are very seamless, even the downshifts as well. And as far as handling goes, this is more of a luxury-focused sedan from BMW, but it still handles well. It's got a good bit of power. Without being an M-Lite version, an M car, you still have a nice bit of performance for this model. So this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for this 5 Series. And we do get some of the unique quirks for this model. All the lighting, the design of this steering wheel, but it's a nice vehicle overall. Seats are super comfortable too, and you have a lot of options that you can go with, just depending on how you want this sedan to be spec'd. So overall, no real complaints with it. I think it has a great exterior design. I think the interior is laid out very nicely. And so if you just want a nice luxury-focused vehicle, it's a bit expensive, but when you compare it to the competition, it's pretty in line with some of the other competitors that you can go with. I think this is a great option. And it brakes do a good job too, coming to a stop. It would be nice to see the M550, which would be a more performance-oriented version of this. I don't think they still make that, but I have seen them very rarely. So at least on the used market, you could go with some more performance in a 5 Series if you wanted to. But that is going to wrap it up for the latest generation for the 540i. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Charlotte for providing this luxury-focused sedan for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I'll see you all in the next video.